Good evening. Welcome to the January 7th Village Board of Trustees meeting. Please join me as we stand for the pledge, followed by a moment of silence as we honor the wonderful contributions in the life of Pat Unger Scarduzio.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Trustee DeRoyo?
Present.
Trustee Herrera?
Present.
Trustee Codman?
Present.
Trustee Quezada?
Present.
And Mayor Garrity.
Present.
Going to read your mayor's appointments?
Yes, we'll begin with mayor's appointments. And I'd like to begin by letting everyone know that I'm very pleased to be providing Trustee Omar Herrera the opportunity to serve as our deputy mayor. I know that he will represent the village very well in this role. Over the past year, I've had the opportunity to work closely with him, and he has demonstrated great strength of character. Trustee Herrera knows everyone in Ossining, not just because he grew up here, but because he has dedicated himself to making connections with Ossining business owners and community organizations. And I believe having the additional title of deputy mayor will be an excellent way for Trustee Herrera to begin his career in elected office. And while I hope there are not very many opportunities when he may step into my shoes, when he does so, I know he will do so admirably. So that would be my first very special announcement in the mayor's appointments. And from there, I will move on to a recognition of all of the committees and the liaison positions that all of the trustees will be taking on for this year. We began this process a month ago. In December, I sent an email to all the trustees with a list of all of the committee assignments that I felt were probably necessary for this year, and it's a little different from last year's list, and the list you're about to hear is a little different from what I originally sent out. We've modified it thanks to some valuable input from our colleagues on the board, and then we even modified it a little further this evening after we had a brief work session to discuss reorganizational items. So there are 5 items on the list for myself, but I also have the great privilege of being able to participate as a liaison to any of the other committees and assignments. So I will identify myself as participating in the IMA committees, should they be necessary. Any IMAs that may be renegotiated or discussed this year as needed, another trustee will be assigned to participate in that subcommittee discussion. Also, there's the Neighbors Link Exploratory Committee that I've already become active on and look forward to seeing where that may go this year. I'll be the liaison to New York State and to the Ossining Union Free School District and to Sustainable Westchester, which is the recently formed organization that was born out of the Northern Westchester Energy Action Consortium, on which I served on the executive committee for many years, and I'm looking forward to how that organization may benefit our community going forward. Trustee John Codman will serve on the Environmental Advisory Council, the Justice Court Oversight Committee, the newly forming Ossining Arts Committee, the Ossining Fire Department, where he has served very well for years, I believe since you joined the board over 3 years ago, the Recreation Advisory Board, Sustainable Westchester as well, and also a unique turn of events. John and Manuel have decided that they will together share the role of covering all of our safety net organizations in Ossining. So I'll read all of 6 of them right now, and they will be shared between Trustee Quezada and Trustee Codman. That is IFCA, Open Door, Ossining Children's Center, Ossining Matters, Family Ties, and the PTSA. Trustee Robert DeRoyo, the Ambulance District Oversight Committee, the Ossining Volunteer Ambulance Corps, the Town of Ossining Council, GoTV Public Access and Government Access Television, the Civilian Police Complaint Review Board, and a new committee that we are forming at the suggestion of Trustee DeRio, which is the Boating Safety and Marine Environmental Protection Committee, which really is a makeup of Riverkeeper, the Coast Guard, the Army Corps of Engineers, and all of our marinas. And Bob will continue in his role as being responsible for the voucher review every month. Is that correct? Every month?
Twice a month.
Twice a month, thank you.
Twice a month.
And also I would just say we added one to your committee, one to your list, which is looking at how we may reinvent moving forward the Waterfront Vision Committee so that it may address our next phase of what's happening on the waterfront, and Bob has agreed to spearhead that. Did you want to comment on something, Bob?
No, okay. For me.
Okay. Trustee Omar Herrera will be the liaison to Communities That Care, the Downtown Economic Development Committee, the Greater Ossining Chamber of Commerce, the Historic Hudson River Towns, the Intermunicipal Leadership Council, the Neighbors Link Exploratory Committee, Ossining Help, HELP. It's a wonderful organization at St. Anne's that assists workers. And he will also be the backup for the voucher review, and is going to be trained by Bob on how to take on that very important role where twice a month a trustee reviews every voucher of every check that gets that goes out from the village to pay our bills. And it's a wonderful way to really understand the workings of the village. Trustee Herrera, when he is not serving as trustee, is busy at the County Board of Legislators, so it makes sense that he will also be our link to the County of Westchester. And Trustee Manuel Quesada will serve as liaison to the Historic Preservation Commission, the Historic Sing Sing Museum Committee, the Landlord-Tenant Relations Council, the Ossining Heritage Tourism Committee, the Ossining Police Department, the Ossining Union Free School District, and as I mentioned, he will be sharing liaison work to the safety net organizations that I listed earlier, as well as being our connection to the Sing Sing prison. And I will provide an updated final copy of that list to our village clerk, Trustee Clerk Ariane Roberts, as well as to Assistant Village Manager Christina Pate, so that it can be included in the minutes for the public's ability to look at. All right.
And we'll move on to annual resolutions. Board of Trustees meeting schedule, regular meeting. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining will hold regular meetings of the Village Board as set forth on the schedule below for the year 2015 at 7:30 p.m. at the Birdsall Fagan Police Court facility. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that work sessions of the Board of Trustees will be held at the Municipal Building, 16 Croton Avenue, as set forth on the schedule below. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Oh, yes, excuse me. There is a January 28th is a Wednesday, not a Tuesday.
I think it's a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday.
There was,
Yeah,
there
it
was
has
just a
Tuesday in here,
typo.
so I'm saying it is Wednesday.
Oh,
So that correction has been
I
made.
see. Okay.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second. Stay on the board.
On the board? Madam Clerk,
All
thank
those
you.
in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, yes. Now, you were talking about the work sessions. I just want to make one comment before you move further. There are a few occasions in the coming year where we are going to schedule a topic where we'll really focus the work session. It'll be more like a community meeting or workshop. In fact, the first one that we're working on putting together could happen as soon as the end of this month on January 28th. And in those instances, to ensure that there's an opportunity for more discussion with the public, we'll be hosting it probably in the library. Perhaps some of them could take place in the community center. So in any instance where we would be diverging from the plan to be at the municipal building, we will certainly give due notice to the public in the way that we always do for public meetings, and any other ways that we can communicate to the public to make sure that you know, A, where it's happening, and B, that there's an opportunity for often for public comment and engagement, whereas work sessions typically are for us on the board to be working with each other and with village employees and consultants. So these would be most of the dates, but if there's any modifications, we'll let you know.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby designates the Journal News as the official newspaper of the Village of Ossining for 2015. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
On the board?
Yes. I'm going to vote for this, but with reservations. We've had some recent issues with the Journal News, and a lot of it has to do with their ability to just deliver basic service. And the town has experienced the same thing. I'm not sure what's going on at the Journal News, but it's not making us very happy. And when we have to go through the time and effort to reschedule meetings, repost the special timing that we have to have certain events, public hearings of that matter, it makes it very, very difficult. But I'm going to vote for this tonight, but I will publicly put the Journal News on notice that if we continue to have problems, we will seek another source to advertise. At least that's my personal feeling, that we would seek other sources to advertise for our meetings.
Yeah, I agree with that. And in fact, I was hoping that we were going to make the Ossining Gazette the paper of record. I'm very displeased with the service we get from Gannett at the Journal News. They're not responsive. They make mistakes that leave us open to liability. And I don't expect they're going to change their behavior, and I am looking forward to replacing them when they mess it up again, as they no doubt will. We will vote for this tonight in order that we can continue meeting our public obligation, but you can expect this to be revisited in the future.
Yeah, I would say that my personal goal as a trustee, and I could speak for the whole board on this, is that we want to make sure that we reach as many people as possible when it comes to all notices. So until the board investigates and finds another possible outlet that we could place all our I almost said ads, but that was the mistake.
Legal notices.
Yes. Until then the Journal News, despite their flaws, is the only outlet right now that will guarantee that the majority of our population is informed.
I'm going to agree with that. We actually had a couple of bad experiences the past year, and I'm hoping give them another second chance, I guess. So for now, we're going to go with them, but we'll see what happens.
And let me just explain for anybody who's tuning in now and wondering why we even have to have a paper of record and what does that mean. In order to comply with our public meetings laws, we have to notify the public a certain number of days in advance. And because the Journal News is a local paper, that allows us opportunities to notify the public of upcoming meetings, particularly as they may be meetings related to something like Planning or Zoning Board, which only meet monthly. And in order to have adequate notice to the public so that projects can continue to move forward in the planning and zoning process, it was felt that it was important that we maintain a daily paper publication, despite the reservations that have been alluded to tonight. And complying with the open meetings laws or public meetings laws is certainly not the only way that we can reach out to the public. We want to make sure, as Trustee Herrera referred to, that we have as many opportunities for the public to be aware of what's going on as possible. So,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that wherever it shall be appropriate to compensate village officials and or village employees for mileage, they shall be reimbursed at a rate of 57.5 cents per mile to be paid upon claim voucher after audit and approval in accordance with the IRS standards. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
on the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that upon the recommendation of the village treasurer, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby retains the firm of Oric, Harrington, and Sutcliffe's, LLP, 666 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, to serve as bond counsel effective immediately. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved upon the recommendation of the Corporation Council, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby retains the firm of Hodges, Walsh, Mesmer, and Morocnik, LLP, 55 Church Street, Suite 211, White Plains, New York, to serve as special counsel for litigation matters in accordance with the letter of correspondence dated December 9th, 2014. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second?
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that upon the recommendation of the Corporation Council, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby retains the firm of Littler Mendelson LLP, 900 3rd Avenue, New York, New York, to serve as special counsel for labor matters in accordance with the letter of correspondence dated January 6, 2015. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby reappoints William J. Hamilton as Deputy Corporation Counsel for a 2-year term effective January 1, 2015 through December 31, 2016. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby appoints Dana White, Village Historian, for the 2015 year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board?
All
I-
those.
I
all
would
those-
like to
Oh,
just make
okay.
a comment, because we had a lovely discussion with Dana during our work session, and all of the members of the board had an opportunity to hear from her and to comment on how much we are looking forward to her taking on this new role in the village. Dana is a journalist and is looking forward to having the opportunity to bring to light some of the lovely stories about Austening's history, and hopefully you will have opportunities to read some of her original pieces that she is setting a goal for herself to put forth for us on a quarterly basis, and keep Austening's history alive and growing for all of us to appreciate. So thank you, Dana, for stepping into this role, and thank you on the board for being so supportive of this opportunity.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now, the finance adoption of investment policy goes on for quite a number of pages, so I will just read the 3 whereases and the 1 resolved. Whereas pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 39, local governments in the state of New York, including villages, are required to adopt a comprehensive written investment policy, and whereas local governments are required to review their investment policies on an annual basis, and whereas the Village of Austin has reviewed its policies since adoption in 1993, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees does hereby approve and adopt the attached investment policy for the Village of Austin, subject to the approval of Corporation Council.
So moved.
Second.
On the board?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby adopts the debt management policy as follows. The treasurer will monitor the debt portfolio annually for refinancing opportunities through services of a financial advisor. This can be done in connection to the continuing disclosure process. The minimum criteria for bond refunding are as follows. 1. Refunding should produce savings equal to 3% of bonds to be refinanced. And 2. Savings after insurance premium should be 2.5 times underwriter's discount and other costs of issuance. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas Section 104B of the General Municipal Law requires the governing body of every municipality to adopt a procurement policy for all goods and services which are not required by law to be publicly bid. And whereas comments have been solicited from all officers in the Village of Austin involved in the procurement process, now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Austin does hereby adopt the following procurement policy, which is intended to apply to all goods and services which are not required by law to be publicly bid. And again, this goes on for several pages. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas from time to time, employees incur certain expense in connection with performing their duties, attending training, seminars, and/or conferences. And whereas the Village of Ossining has established guidelines which an employee may be legally reimbursed for expenses, now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Ossining does hereby adopt the reimbursement of village employee business expenses as follows. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Village of Ossining Financial Goals and Policies. Section 1, Introduction. The Village of Ossining has an important responsibility to its citizens to carefully account for public funds, to manage municipal finances wisely, and to plan the adequate funding of services desired by the public, including the provision and maintenance of public facilities. The financial goals and policies are intended to establish guidelines for the continued financial strength and stability of the Village of Ossining. While some of the goals are specific and may limit certain types of financial activity, the goal statements are not intended to restrict the Board of Trustees' ability and responsibility to respond to emergencies or service delivery requirements above or beyond the limitations established by the financial goals and policies. The operating position policies, Section 2.1, are subject to the modifications as economic conditions may vary over time and as goals and priorities of the Board of Trustees may change. All sections of this financial goals and policy statement are based on a desire for a sound financial foundation, strong internal controls and procedures, use of generally accepted accounting principles, and following legal requirements and guidance of the Office of the State Comptroller and other oversight and regulatory agencies. It is intended that this financial goals and policy statement will be reviewed and reaffirmed annually. The financial goals and policy statements set forth herein were initially adopted as the village's financial goals and policies as a whole by the Board of Trustees on June 2nd, 2009. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'd just like to say, Tom Warren, our treasurer, is here with us, and I've taken an opportunity to watch several other committees, boards meetings throughout Westchester and beyond in recent months, and whenever I do, I'm always reassured and grateful for the great work of our department chairs, much like Tom Warren, who is so careful, and we have such confidence in him. So thank you. Anyone else on the board?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Personnel Management Benefit Plan. Whereas the Village of Ossining has heretofore historically provided and does currently provide certain employment benefits for elected officials, managers, and appointed personnel, and whereas the village desires to ratify and reaffirm the benefits which have been and will continue to be provided to elected officials, managers, and appointed personnel, now therefore be it resolved that in accordance with past practice, the Village of Ossining shall continue to provide benefits for elected officials, managers, and appointed personnel as follows. And we have the Management Benefit Plan. This plan is meant to confirm what has been the practice of the village for over 20 years. Discusses vacation time, personal days, sick leave, longevity, health, dental, vision, and life insurance. And to the mayor, village trustees, and deputy corporation council are entitled to the same health, dental, and life insurance benefits as the managers and appointed personnel in New York State and local employees retirement system. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And with that, shall we adjourn to our regular meeting?
Yes, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We will now go into mayors and trustees, as we will be adjourning into our regular meeting.
Doing very well.
So we have mayors and trustees announcements.
All right, I do have a couple of announcements. Just today, hot off the press, we can now tell you that the Solarize Westchester program, which identified 4 communities to participate, has selected Ossining Briarcliff, our coalition, which is all 3 municipalities, the town of Ossining, the village of Ossining, and the village of Briarcliff, I'm very pleased that this is moving forward, and we now are able to tell you that we are officially launching today. And later this month, there will be 2 public workshops where anyone is welcome to come, learn about the Solarize program, why you would want to participate, why you might want to get solar at all, and the opportunities that we have here, both for residential properties and for commercial properties. The Solarize Westchester program is designed to help break down barriers for people who are interested in having solar installed in their home or building. It brings the cost down because through this program we are doing outreach to the community, so it becomes more affordable for the solar installers to gather customers. And we have done extensive research. I'm also pleased to have been a member of the subset of people on the Solarize Ossining Briarcliff team where we investigated any solar installers who made a proposal to be participants in this program, and we did some really in-depth vetting of all of the companies that we could consider. And I'm really pleased that our residential company that we'll be working with through this program is called Ross Solar Group. And for commercial installations, we'll be working with Best Energy Power. And let me just say, that does not preclude you from hiring absolutely any solar installer in the area that you would like. It is still business as usual. This is in addition to, we have this special program. And so I will give you the dates. Mark your calendar if you're interested. At the Saturday, January 24th at 10 a.m. for until 12 p.m. at the Briarcliff Manor Public Library, we'll be having a public workshop. And then the same kind of workshop will be held here in Ossining at our library on Thursday, January 29th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So I hope you will join us and learn more about that very exciting program. And our local historical folk just left, but I would say I also want to commend our Village Historic Preservation Commission. We have been familiar with much of their work, those of us who have been serving on the board and in village government, and they've done some really terrific work in recent years since that commission was founded. And they were recently reviewed by the New York State Historic Preservation Office, and they were audited and were recognized for doing excellent work. So we are grateful for that group of citizens, which includes our outgoing historian who will continue to serve on our Historic Preservation Commission, Deborah Van Steen, and we're very grateful for her service, as well as Joanne Tall, who is the chair of that committee, and all of the members who give so generously of their time. And I believe, Manuel, was that your path to becoming a trustee, was through the Historic Preservation?
Correct.
Yes, okay. And we're grateful that Manuel continues on as the liaison to that group. And so with that, I will ask if any of my colleagues have comments, announcements.
Yes. John?
Just wanted to remind everybody that I know the farmers market was not here last Saturday, but it is going to be back this Saturday, but at a new location. We're going indoors, the Claremont School, so Down to Earth Markets in association with the Ossining, well, the school district. Yeah, it's sort of a whole, and the Chamber of Commerce all kind of combining together to use a public space to take it indoors. I know there had some people had opined that over the last few winters the workers had to be outdoors, and perhaps there was some difficult working conditions. However, there were heaters there for them. But anyway, it's going to be indoors. I believe 9 a.m. the open. We're going to do a ribbon cutting. So the farmers market is back Saturday, 9 a.m. Claremont School. Be there.
Anyone else?
Yes. I'm pleased to announce office hours beginning next, let's pull it up, beginning next week. I will have office hours at Village Hall on the first floor in the conference room, which is called conference room?
Conference room, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Boardroom, yeah,
The boardroom.
Your left
Yes.
as you walk in.
Yes, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then virtual office hours will also start next week, the second and fourth Wednesday of every month, via Facebook from 6 to 7 p.m., Skype video chat by appointment only, and of course you could always call me at the Village line, which is 941-3554. And then the Chamber of Commerce is hosting a Business Before Business, and that is being held next Tuesday, January 13th, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's at 2 Church Street, Suite 205. It's, you don't have to be a member to attend. If you have a business or a startup or have an idea or just want to know what the buzz is in Ossining when it comes to business, I encourage you to go. We have fresh, warm donuts from the Ossining Bakery, free coffee. It's a win-win. So that's on Tuesday. And for more information, you can contact the Chamber at 941-0009.
Omar, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'd neglected to mention I held office hours for the first time yesterday, so I will consistently plan to be in the trustee's office, which is right through the conference room on the first floor there at 16 Croton Avenue. I plan to be there every Tuesday from 10 a.m. to noon. I will say next week the town assessor's office is holding a meeting in that boardroom, so you're still welcome to come. I will just scoot out of the room and we'll go down the hall and we'll have a conversation if you'd like to join me for public office hours. No appointment is necessary, but you can reach us all if you'd ever like to email the entire board at bot@villageofossining.org or each of our last names at villageofossining.org.
Okay, we'll move on to administrative reports, and we'll begin with Village Manager Richard Lyons.
Thank you. Just a couple of announcements this evening. We are, of course, monitoring the extreme weather that we're currently having. This evening in particular is supposed to be particularly cold. We expect it'll break. However, there are minimum heat requirements on all residences, and I would urge residents who have concerns about inadequate heat or some potential violation to call the building department at 941-3199, and they will make themselves available to consider your situation. And in the event of any emergency, the police non-emergency number is 941-4099. So those numbers are available to you. People are available to help you 24 hours a day. So please call if there's an issue that we can help out on. We will monitor, and as required, we'll make additional services available as necessary. We are at this time experiencing a water main break at Cooper Drive in the town of Ossining. This affects 16 homes in that area. When last we were noticed by email, we were waiting for Con Ed to come and mark out the potential excavation site, at which point they'll be able to start digging and determine where the water main break is, and then that will be repaired as quickly as possible. We'll make any information that we have on that available, but as I say, at this point there are only 16 homes affected, and they will be or have already been notified by door-to-door knocking. So we'll hope to get that resolved ASAP. The last thing I wanted to just mention, cause for congratulations for the public to know, the village and the town. As of January 1, 2015, the village of Ossining began policing in the town unconsolidated area. So last I heard, no news is good news, but I think everything's going very well. And I congratulate the chief of the entire department on this really significant achievement, and on the town in enlisting the assistance of the village of Ossining in servicing their police needs. Thank you.
Move on to Corporation Counsel, Lori Lee Dixon.
Hi, good evening. I wanted to let you know that an update. I know that our managers aren't here this evening, but I'm working closely with the building department and the owners of the property at 147 Main Street, the old We Can Do It lot. I'm working closely with them, and I believe we're getting close to being able to issue a partial certificate of occupancy for a number of the apartments. I know they're advertising and they're available for lease, but there were some final sign-offs necessary, and the fire suppression certification should come tomorrow. I have been working closely with their chief operating officer, and we finalized a escrow agreement today and received the wire transfer. So it appears, if all goes well, that tomorrow they'll have their partial certificate of occupancy, and then work, as the weather gets better, toward completing the rest of the site improvements, which were exterior and nominal in nature. But I wanted to let you know that we should have residents at that location very soon. Thank you.
We'll move on to organizational announcements. Is there anyone that has come to address the board? Chief has no report this evening. Not seeing anyone. We have village board resolutions. Is there anyone that would like to address the board on any of the resolutions this evening?
You may come up.
Linda?
Hi, my name is Linda. I'd like to overwhelmingly congratulate Victoria Garrity and Omar Herrera on your elections. I'm more than thrilled. I'm not allowed to say that, am I?
You have an organizational announcement to share with us this evening.
No, this is not organization. This is resolution.
Oh, this is resolutions. Thank you. Thank you. I've moved right on.
Something.
Oh, okay. All right. You have a resolution to comment on?
I have questions, please.
Okay.
Letter F, the appointment of Hodges, Walsh, and Nessel, whatever. What is their hourly rate? The last I read was $150 an hour. Does anybody know off the top of their head?
Where is this? I'm sorry.
In our reorganizational meeting. No, I don't think that we would have that information off the top of our head. Is there a particular reason why? Were you just asking for informational purposes, or is there something you wanted to comment on?
I keep certain notes for the last 25, 30 years.
Okay.
And I know the last I read was $150 an hour, so I'm curious if they've got it upwards.
Well, if that's something that we can appropriately share with you, then I think that the office can follow up with you.
It's appropriate, honest.
Okay.
I believe their rate currently is at 180.
Okay.
180 an hour,
180, yes. 180
Hourly.
an hour.
hourly.
Hourly rate, yes.
Okay. Also, the hourly rate of Littler and Mendelson for labor relations. Because it used to be Craig Benson.
It is.
I don't have that retainer agreement memorized, I'm sorry.
This is letter G. Doesn't say Craig. It's Littler.
That's his law firm.
What?
That's the law firm.
We still work with Craig Benson.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody know what the hourly rate is over there?
No, we can get back to you on that.
I'll call Tom Warren tomorrow.
Thank you.
You have it's public information.
Sure. No one wants to
But I-
deny it
but-
to you, Linda. We just didn't know. We just don't know.
I know that.
No worries.
I'm not giving you a hard time.
I don't feel like you are either.
Good.
Nice to see you.
What do you know? I'm teasing. You know I say that to everybody.
I know.
Go ahead, ask me.
You
how I
can't
am.
help
Was
it.
there another item you wanted to comment on?
Sure. I have a question. One of these things on part of the whatever here for gratuities. A tip of $1. Wait, I folded it here. I'm sorry. Resolution for gratuities. There's no letter here. Gratuities for meals may not exceed the greater of $1 or 15%. What does this mean? $1. That means you can only leave $1 tip. Am I reading this right?
Oh, that's
that-
what's reimbursable.
You don't
That's the dollar amount that's reimbursable.
If I leave a 25% tip, I can only put in for $1 reimbursement.
Or
Well, wait,
15
but if you read the whole sentence, it says gratuities for meals may not exceed the greater of $1 or 15% of the cost of the meal. So if it's a $10 meal, you can leave $1.50. But you could also leave $3 if it was really great service and a delicious meal, but you'll only be reimbursed by the village for $1.50. Am I understanding that correctly? So 15% is a little low. I tend to do at least 20%, but I'll take that in my
I just found it confusing. Why would
my
you?
own pocket,
I
yeah.
mean, the minimum wage went up to what, $8.50 now?
I guess it would be if $1 were more than 15%.
Wait.
It's extremely unlikely that $1 would be greater than 15% of a lunch.
The greater of $1. Well, so you could leave a 15% tip.
Exactly.
Yes.
You could leave a 15% tip. So if you had a $100 meal that you were being reimbursed for, you could leave a $15 tip. That is reimbursable. You can leave as big a tip as you want, but you'll only get reimbursed $15.
Okay, so if you left $15, you would get reimbursed the 15.
Correct.
Yes, but
So
if you left 30,
20, and I'm getting confused now.
Yep.
So if you left 20,
you still only get 15.
you'd only get 15.
You got it.
Okay, so the dollar really means squat.
Exactly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
there anyone else?
But moving on.
Move on to the approval of minutes. Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby approves the minutes of December 30th, 2014 special meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain?
Can you state why, even though we know?
Oh, I am abstaining because I was not on the board at that time.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby approves the voucher detail report dated January 7th, 2015, the amount of $6,725,585. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
On the board?
Yeah. $6 million?
Well, it was my tip. No, actually, yes. It was a really good meal. No, in all seriousness, what that is every year we have to resolve the insurances
Oh, okay.
and the pension contribution
All right.
for all of the
Okay.
employees, and so that's always the largest vouchers of the year. It's for our contributions to the insurance and the pension fund.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the 2014 general fund budget is modified to transfer appropriations from the contingency account for a professional services agreement with Donald Mara. The treasurer is authorized to encumber the unexpended funds at year-end to be carried over to the 2015 budget as follows. Decrease general fund appropriations account number 001 1990-0400, contingency account $15,000. Increase general fund estimated revenues account number 001-1010-0400, legislative board contractual $15,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Yeah, I'd like to just comment on this. We are very grateful that Village Manager Richard Lyons has agreed to continue through the first quarter of this year so that in our work with Don Mara, who's going to make sure that we have a smooth transition to Richard's successor. Richard has been a wonderful public servant for many, many years here in Ossining, and we are really grateful for his service. And it's going to be tough to get through this process in a great way for Ossining, but we are confident that hiring Don Mara is the right move, and pleased that my trustees and I came to this conclusion and trust that this will be money and time well spent in investing in the future of Ossining.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Village Board hereby accepts a proposal and authorizes execution of a professional services agreement with Donald Mara, 30 Maplewood Avenue, Dobbs Ferry, New York, in connection with village efforts to fill a vacancy in the position of village manager anticipated to occur upon the announced retirement of the existing village manager.
So moved.
Second?
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas there are currently vacancies on the Environmental Advisory Council, said vacancies having occurred upon the expiration of terms of former appointees and a resignation by a former appointee. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby appoints the following individuals to terms as members of the Environmental Advisory Council as follows. David Kleiman, December 31st, 2015. Jeffrey Smith, December 31st, 2015. Robert Wider, December 31st, 2015. Ashok Rajdev, December 31st, 2016. And Jennifer Glass, December 31st, 2016. Do I have a motion?
Second?
The one comment I would make is it seems that we are updating. Is this everyone? Because there's one name that that comes to mind that I know is not included. Okay, great.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That completes your resolutions for this evening. Is there any continuing business of the board?
No, ma'am?
Do we have any new business of the board?
Yes, we do. For the purposes of discussion, I would like to make a motion that the cameras be kept on for the public comment portions of our meetings going forward under the same rules and conditions for those comments that we currently use without having the camera on. I need a.
Can we just clarify what the current conditions are?
I'm so yes.
Sure.
Why don't you do it?
Sure. Well, I have here the 2007 Rules of Conduct, or that the board passed in 2007, and I'll review the visitor recognition portion and the conditions of public speech portion of those rules. I also will sort of let the public know that Bob had brought to my attention that he was eager to move this forward, and I know it's something that all of us had discussed in recent months as being reflective of our interest in having more community engagement and letting the public know that we would like you to be participatory with your local government. And so in anticipation of us moving forward with this at some point, I had contacted Bob Freeman in New York State, Open Meetings. He's in charge of all the open meetings. He's kind of the guy in New York State. And I also contacted NICOM, which is the New York Council of Mayors, who really just referred back to Bob Freeman. In fact, Bob Freeman is quoted right up here at the top of our rules of conduct. And his general recommendation is that you have a clear expectation of what public comment periods permit, and that you also maintain the ability to have some flexibility as conditions would require it. And that would be up to me as the chair of the meeting and to my colleagues here to enforce. So I will skip down in the rules of conduct to the visitor recognition portion. After new business, visitors will be accorded 1 3-minute opportunity to address the board on issues not relating to the agenda, but of relevance to the common good of the village. Speakers will be recognized by the chair after a show of hands. And then the conditions of public speech are names and addresses of speakers are optional. I would also like to say that there have been instances where the public has commented and they've said things that were really interesting, and I'd like to follow up with them. So I'm sorry I didn't ask you about this in advance, Madam Clerk, but sometimes there's something that there's a piece of paper that somebody hands to the clerk or gives the clerk some information on who they are. If you come and speak to the board during a public meeting for any reason, if there's a reason why we may want to follow up with you, we'd be grateful to have your email address, and any one of us might follow up with you. Sometimes we specifically ask for it, but other times we don't. So if we could make that more of a habit, it could be helpful in facilitating the exchange of information. It says that we will adhere strictly to the time limits, and I'll just clarify. It's a 3-minute time limit, and Christina Papes, our assistant village manager, has the shot clock. There's really disturbing buzz that goes off at the end of it, so you'll know when your 3 minutes is up. If there is ever occasion where we on the board feel that we need further clarification or we'd like you to continue for 1 minute or 2 minutes, we reserve the right to allow for that, but generally it will be a 3-minute rule. Unused time cannot be yielded to another speaker or reclaimed later. You do not mention by name any person, either village employee or others. You may refer to a person's title or job description. Public comments should be addressed to the chair and are expected to be voiced in a civil and courteous manner. Concerns may also be addressed in writing to the mayor or the village manager or the board of trustees. Questions will be answered at the discretion of the chair or at a later date. The board believes that the venue for its investigation and discussion of new issues is at work sessions, not legislative sessions. Therefore, new issues brought before the board by a member of the public may be addressed at a future work session. The public is invited to submit written explanations of new issues to the village manager for possible inclusion on work session agendas, which shall be at the discretion of the mayor. And I would suggest that all of us on the board, while I'm fully supportive of us keeping the cameras on tonight with this clarification of expectation of public comment, and that we also add it to our work session agenda for next week to sort of reflect on how it goes tonight, and any further clarification we may want to consider, or perhaps we need to update our rules of conduct in some manner.
So to modify my resolution, I move that we keep the cameras on for public comment, subject to the current rules and conditions as stated by our mayor just now, with the understanding that they can be modified based on how this goes going forward. That's my motion. I need a second.
Second.
On the board?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, are there any visitors who would like to be recognized?
I think it is perfectly appropriate that you be the first person to come and talk after we turn the cameras back on. It's great.
I would prefer, honestly, the camera to be off right now. I'm serious.
Well, that's not going to happen.
I wasn't
So you can wait
prepared.
till after the cameras are off if you'd like, but the meeting will be
I
over.
want you all to know, see that timer there? I was the first, Joe Burton will remember, I was the first one who ever brought in a timer for the village board. I have 2 clickers. Remember that, Chief? 7 days. Oh, that's right. Chief Burton's having a birthday very soon. Anyway, my name is Linda, and I will urge all of you, and I probably send all of you with the exception of one probably, Baca versus Marino School District. Some of the things you said, Madam Mayor, are unconstitutional. You can't tell someone when they're speaking in a public meeting what they can and can't say. If you people up there wish to say, hey, Tom Warren is a really good treasurer, someone has the right, legal right, to say, he's terrible. I'm only kidding, Tom. I think you're wonderful. But you can't tell people what they can and can't say. If you are using the name of an employee up there, anybody standing at this podium has a legal right to do so. I will send you the whole legal thing, Baca versus Marino.
Thank you very much. Oh, that's good. I want to see
You're
that.
really kissing up to me tonight, Bobby.
I am. You have no idea.
I'm in shock from you. I really am. Wait, and I want to say also that it says here for visitor recognition, 3-minute opportunity to address the board on issues not relating to the agenda. I have another agenda question.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It may also be related to the agenda, beyond the agenda is permitted.
People can say whatever they want. I'm curious how on the page before this one it says approval of minutes. It says here on this page, Trustee Garrity moved and it was seconded by Trustee Guazzata. The following resolution is adopted.
That was for,
That was a
Oh.
typographical error.
well,
No, typo.
Oh, I find them all the time.
I know, and you're good at it. We love it.
It's part of my background. Anyway,
All right.
no, well, I didn't know that, and I'd like to know why it was not on the website. Thank you, Manny Guazzata. Profusely. At 5:45 today, I could not find. Was it 5:45 or so? 5 o'clock? I don't remember. I couldn't find the board agenda online. It wasn't there. Whatever time I called you. And he was kind enough, he sent it to me. 22 pages. That was very long. That's because of Tom Warren. Anyway, I am more than thrilled to see 2 new faces up there. Who's the other one who left? I forgot.
there's only one new face. We just shifted our seats, most of us.
No, you're
I'm in a new seat, but I'm
you
not a new
replaced
face.
Billy, and he's,
You replaced me.
He replaced Victoria. So it's only one new face.
yeah. Yeah, it's a decent board, I'd say. Let's hope it stays this way.
You don't like my old face?
I think you look pretty damn good, Bob.
All right,
Okay.
thank you, Linda.
Oh, on with that too.
Perfect timing.
Is there anyone else who's come to address the board?
No, Bobby?
Yeah, top that, huh? I'd like to just say one thing that, one of the reasons that I think we are asking that people not mention individuals by name is because, frankly, other than the management team that comes here and speaks, we don't talk about any individuals that are employees here. That's not what we're here to do. Managers are here to give their reports, and they give their reports. But some of the things that have been said in public meetings about the performance of individuals, village, a lot of it is vitriol and, frankly, is not productive. And I think we want to have a dialogue with the public. We want to have a positive dialogue. We want to have one in which there's an exchange of ideas. And if things aren't working, well, then let's talk about how they're not working. But let's not point the finger at individual. Okay, that's just not beneficial. We need to understand what the problem is and need to understand what's going on, and we want to make the corrections. We're here to serve the public and do the best that we can to make all our quality of life good here in the village.
Hear, hear.
So that's really what that's about. And you know, I've been in meetings where I've witnessed it, and it's unsavory, and it's not productive. So it may be unconstitutional, but you know, at the end of the day, we're trying to get work done, and when you create negative conversation about stuff, it doesn't move the ball forward. So that's my statement on that.
I have a motion to adjourn
So moved.
to executive session for personnel for a specific person.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we jumped the gun there. Thank you. And with that, I thank you very much for joining us for our first regular meeting as well as our reorganizational meeting here in 2015. It's January 7th, Wednesday, and we look forward to seeing you next week, January 14th, Wednesday, January 14th at 16 Croton Avenue, Village Hall. And be safe, be warm, and I look forward to seeing many more faces in future meetings. Thank you.